how much of this AI conversation is real.
We couldn't imagine anything like this maybe 6 months ago,
What I want to get to is, where does India stand here?
When I talk to Western leaders outside of China, India is the only place where this scale is available. India should lead in AI. And when there is a will, capital will find its way.
What exactly is the vision here?
When you combine AI plus automation, it creates a 1 plus 1 equals 11 magic.
How can we further integrate some of these capabilities into business models, enterprise models?
So you are able to create new applications in a way that we never imagined before.
I think this is where I also pull out the job security card.
There is plenty of time to reskill.
Artificial intelligence has been part of almost every conversation in the recent times, and I've been part of some of those over here in Austin at Imagine 2024. And to get some perspective about that, I have with me the CEO and co-founder of Automation Anywhere, Mihir Shukla. Welcome to the Times Network, Mihir. You made a few interesting announcements, had some interesting demonstrations over the last few days, but I want to start with something really basic here. There are two things about AI. One, it's being pitched as something which will completely change our lives. Two, it's almost being made to feel like if we are not adapting, we are missing out on something. So my question to you is, how much of this AI conversation is real and how much of it is pure hype?
Manas, great to be here with you. That's a great question. Look, when these new technologies come, we often wonder if they are overhyped and what is real and what is not. I think this technology is like internet, Manas. What I mean by that is when internet came around, you remember there were some companies overhyped, some underhyped. But in hindsight, we can all agree that internet's ability to impact our lives and our businesses was underhyped.
Absolutely.
Because today there are multi-trillion-dollar companies, largest companies on the planet. Many of them only exist as a result of internet, and it has transformed various industries and parts of our lives. I think Gen AI and AI is like that. It is today, as a technology, it is today underhyped. What I mean by that, and I know you heard me right, it's underhyped, right? Because today you already have one company, Nvidia, that is $3 trillion. But in years to come, you have more trillion-dollar companies that only exist as a result of AI and generative AI. And it will transform every single industry. So if we ignore it, we do it at our own peril.
It's interesting that you mentioned Nvidia, because I'll get to that later in the conversation. Yeah. And so last year you had announced first set of generative AI capabilities for businesses at Imagine itself, and now we have the new AI agent, which again we'll talk about in detail. But what I want to understand is, what exactly is the vision here? What is that we have set out to achieve? And by we, I mean Automation Anywhere.
Of course.
Not you and me.
Of course. So what the vision that we share is, and again, this is a disruption in making for many years. So if you look at us, we have been working on automation for nearly 20 years. We've been working with AI for nearly 8 to 10 years. But I think all of these technologies, what happens is they take a huge step change. And so the time has come where the R&D investments have reached a point and we have achieved certain outcomes where now these technologies can make meaningful difference in our life. So one of the things that now Gen AI, as we all know, is able to do is able to understand language better, and we all recognize it through ChatGPT and other models. At Automation Anywhere, what we are able to do is to take it to the next level, where we are able to take these generative models that are exceptional at generating content and make them into exceptional at doing work. So we retrain these models to do work. And as a result, now they become expert at processing documents, processing tax, processing mortgage applications, answering customer queries. They can do all kinds of work and they become very expert at it. When you now combine this ability with the automation, so when you combine AI plus automation, it creates a 1 plus 1 equals 11 magic. Think of AI as the brain and the automation as the body. When a brain and a body by itself is great, but when it comes together, it has amazing possibilities. And that is what you are seeing, where we are assembling a complete digital assistant or a digital worker even in some cases, where a AI brain and automation body can do work in a way that we have never imagined.
Now, you mentioned that you have been working on these capabilities for a while, and it's correct because artificial intelligence, machine learning, in whatever form has existed for a while. But what we have seen in the last 18 months, the kind of acceleration that has happened, especially because of the OpenAI and ChatGPT explosion, did you see it coming at this rate so soon over the last 18 months?
No, I don't think anybody did, because this technology is, as I said, it is a step change. It's not a gradual slope, and that has been in technology space. It has been that way. So if you think about it, when iPhone was introduced, almost all the pieces of those technologies existed in some form or other in other places, and some may need to be reinvented. But it's when all of it comes together, suddenly you get a huge step change, and it becomes an iPhone. I think it is one of those moments where multiple technologies came together, and we could see the outcome of it, and a remarkable outcome, right? So, but I think this technology is still in early days, like back when internet was back in 1995, which means that you haven't seen anything yet. There is so much more is yet to come.
But one of my complaints with generative AI especially has been a lot of these conversations and use cases have been limited to personal productivity if you talk about mainstream users. And that too, like creativity, not
Yeah.
just productivity, because you talk about all these image creation tools, video creation tools,
Yeah.
all of that. And it's fun, all of that
Yeah.
is fun.
Yeah.
But what is the larger picture here? What are the real world use cases? How can we further integrate some of these capabilities into business models, enterprise models? What we can do here?
That is a great question, Manas. Yes, maybe some of your viewers would remember that back in Internet 1995, when Internet was first came, there was a video of a dancing cat video. And many of us looked at us and said, so what does this do, right? It's amusing and entertaining, but it isn't a technology demonstration. I think when you mention personal productivity about things, they're amusing, they're very helpful, we love, we play with it, and they will help us with few things here and there. But that's what this is. That's not the real application of what we will be using these things for. I think its real impact is in enterprise productivity, in the way we will do work. So, take an example. Some of our customers, when they process mortgage applications, they have now automated this process to a level where what used to take a 15-day now takes 5 to 7 minutes, right? So a completely reimagined way of operating. How you would think about this. If these companies were born today, after generative AI was invented, how would you operate?
Yeah.
So that is a way to ask that question and then reimagine yourself and operate it that way. So there are examples like that where enterprise productivity will skyrocket, customer experiences would transform completely, and businesses' ability to increase their market share and serve more customers will improve. So just take one example, Manas. In banking industry, in most countries, you can only serve 15 to 20% of the population, because there is no economic model to serve the rest of the people. Imagine, with the power of these technologies, if you could serve the majority of the people, what all are the possibilities? So, sky is the limit at this point, Manas.
All right. I mean, I hope so. Now, coming to your, of course, the new AI agent, AI agent studio, which you have introduced. Take me through that. I mean, what does it do, and how will it possibly change the existing workflows for a lot of these companies? Because, as you said, some of these companies were started before the whole Gen AI evolution. So, what is the best that they can do with these solutions?
Of course. So, what an AI agent is that combination of AI and automation. And the way you do that is you kind of create a specific brain, just in simple language, an AI brain in this scenario, where you feed a lot of information to this brain and train it with a lot of knowledge on a specific area. So let me take an example of something like a tax application, where you can feed this brain a set of tax laws and all the documents, and say, now you know what the tax laws are. Now you know what the documents are and what the implication is. And now I want you to go and apply the tax laws to these documents and calculate the tax for me. So how is this different? The way it is different is, previously we had to code every single workflow, every single possibility. If it is this, then do that. That there are thousands of possibilities in this scenario. Now we don't have to do that. We just say, here are the laws, here are the data. You figure it out and apply whatever is possible. So you are able to create new applications in a way that we never imagined before. Some of them can be like an Imagine floor. We had today 25 customers who created these applications in less than 24 hours. We couldn't imagine anything like this maybe 6 months ago, you know. So this is a very fast moving pace. People will create these dynamic applications. The AI agent studio will be able to orchestrate all of this together. So they will be able to train AI, they will be able to connect multiple applications, choose a right model for that, and then orchestrate the process across all of this.
I think this is where I also pull out the job security card,
Of
because
course.
at least till the time some of these technologies mature,
Yeah.
or artificial intelligence in general matures, we'll have this constant conversation about how it will possibly affect jobs or job creation in future.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that? Because if there is an AI tool which could interview right now, I'll probably not be sitting here, right?
So that's an important question, Manas. Manas, the way to look, I'll share a frame. The way I think about this is, as a leader, it is important to be honest with your employees. And so the conversation I have I'll personalize this to me, and I suggest all leaders should do that. We should share with them that, look, this at a high level, I share with them that, you know, the best of our knowledge, this technology will create 10 million new jobs, and it will impact 8 million jobs in some scenario. With some, in many cases, it will assist you. In There are cases where it can automate 90-100% of the jobs. Now that happens with every technology revolution. Take an example with when the internet came, the role of a travel agent changed.
Yeah.
I don't think even travel agents are complaining about it. So there are certain transitions are necessary. It creates a huge demand, and it's the right step forward. So I think this technology will do something similar.
Okay.
Now, but it is important to be honest about it. So let's say if somebody has a role that is 80% repetitive, Manas, I have this rule that let me mention that. I think when an employee asks me about something, my rule is that they already know, because they are operating in the ground level. They operate every day. They know what their job is. They already know. What they're trying to figure out is that, do you know as a leader, right? So my job is to be honest about it and say, yes, I do know, I care, and I. So if somebody has a role that is 70% repetitive, I would encourage us to have an honest conversation and say, look, this would happen with every technology place. This doesn't happen everywhere. A few places where it happens, there is plenty of time to reskill. There is plenty of other opportunities, and almost all of them, if not all of them, jobs are significantly higher paying job. Let's go. I tell my team that, look, to best of my knowledge, with all the technology we are inventing, automation anywhere will likely have 2x, 3x, or more employees in next 5 years. To my knowledge, that is what I know today.
We don't have a crystal
I have
ball.
no crystal ball, but to my knowledge, with everything I am inventing, right? So I, as in my team, is inventing. So let's figure out what role we're going to take and what are the most, and they're all higher paying jobs.
Yeah.
So let's figure that out. But it is a power of conversation. I think if we don't have that conversation, if we bury our head in the sand and say somehow this would be okay, it won't be.
By the way, artificial intelligence has already been likened to a crystal ball by some of the big industry leaders. So
Yeah.
that's very interesting that we brought that up. Okay, so before we wrap this up, this is my last question. I want to bring two things which you mentioned. One right here in the interview, and one at the keynote. So when you were talking on the platform, you said that there was a time when it almost felt like China had sort of gained on other markets when it came to technological advancements, and now US is sort of taking that waiting back with all these
Yeah.
AI innovations happening. What I want to get to is, where does India stand here? Because you also have Taiwan, you have to keep in mind, with Nvidia, TSMC, all those AI chips that they're manufacturing. Where does India stand? Because we lost out somewhere on the manufacturing race. We came in a little late. We're still trying to make India a manufacturing hub. Do you think we have the necessary skills, and what should India do to make sure that it's right there with other superpowers when it comes to AI capabilities?
Yeah, I think India has a couple of amazing opportunities. So, to draw analogy from history, if you think about the second industrial revolution, a small island of England leveraged the second industrial revolution and became Great Britain, and then everything else that followed that some of us are aware of. This is an opportunity where a country could transform if they leverage the capabilities. So there are two things for India to, at least two things to keep in mind. One is that don't think of this as a choice between labor and technology, because last time we thought like that, we got colonized. So think of this as and. You can have two strands. You can have labor strength, because India has a significant labor strength, and you can have a technology strength. It's a false choice between the both. You should have both.
And now there's skill too. Like there are a lot of machine learning and AI engineers.
That's correct. A significant skill set there, right? The second part is that India has a huge knowledge workers population. So if you think about it, when China did manufacturing, China didn't say that I want to be best at manual manufacturing. They said I want to be best at manufacturing. Which means when automation came along, China adopted automation at scale. What India could consider is that I want to be best at knowledge worker and all things that knowledge and intelligence brings. If you decide to do that, India should lead in AI, because you have the skill set, technical skill set that knows how knowledge work happens, and combining with AI, India could produce outcomes that would be unparalleled, because it's all, everything is there, provided we choose to think that way.
But do you think we have the investments? Because skill is there for sure. I know there are a bunch of AI engineers working out of India who are creating a lot of these tools for other companies. For example, Adobe's, all these image to text and image to 3D model tools have been made in India by the Indian engineers.
Yeah.
But do we have the investment to pull off some of these capabilities?
Where else there is scale of this size available? I mean, when I talk to Western leaders outside of China, India is the only place where this scale is available. And for the reasons that we are aware of geopolitically, India is probably the only place where significant investments are happening. So it is not a challenge. It's the largest market. All the capabilities are there. I think if we reimagine our role in this knowledge and AI-driven economy, we can make it happen. And when there is a will, capital will find its way.
Here's hoping to that, and hopefully we'll meet again and see how AI shapes up the future for all of us. Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Manas. Appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.